Do y'all feel like you learn more when you live with someone? I didn't realize my ex-wife belonged to the streets until then we lived together. Dated 1.5 years and then lived together for two. Yeah, you find a lot of stuff out
And he
when
still
you
got
live.
married, and then she went crazy. Is that what he's saying?
I guess I didn't realize my ex-wife, so their exes now belong to the streets until they live together.
Okay, so they it sounds like they got married after a year and a half and then lived
Yeah.
together. It's like, well, like I said, it's ideal for you date a year or two and then you move in together, live together for a couple of years, then get married. You learn a lot about somebody when you live with them.
Yeah.
I asked him like what made him realize that she was for the streets, and he said she came home drunk and I could tell something was up, and I wasn't aware that she went out until she would come home after drinking out. I also went through her phone.
So she cheated, I guess. Usually what happens in the long-term relationships is the guy stops dating and courting the girl and he doesn't make her feel heard and understood. And if he's with a low character woman, when he does that, she just goes and starts fucking somebody else. And that's what it sounds like happened to Cody. That's why
Coach,
you gotta vet. You gotta vet properly. You gotta look at character. Does she lie to you? Does she keep her word? Does she say what she means and means what she said? Does she have a good dad? Did he raise her right? Does she have a good strong sense of right and wrong? Just does it probably, if you dated for a year and a half and then got married and moved in together, it sounds like you were focused on how much you liked her and you were projecting your fantasy onto her and you weren't really that objective, and that will happen.
what are your thoughts with a conservative and a far left woman?
Well, my experience with far left women is that you're not going to reach them. There are women that lean left that aren't really that big into politics, and it's not really going to be an issue. But more often than not, especially these days, chicks that are far left, and if you're conservative, you're going to have a hell of a time with them. So again, I say the same things all the time. You want easygoing, easy to get along with, a chick who's nice to you. She makes your dick hard, not your life. She brings peace into your life, not fucking chaos. So typically what I've seen with people that are far left, even friends of mine I've had, it's like the further left they go, the more nutty they sound, the more nutty they act, and the more unreasonable they are, and the more arrogant they become. They think they know everything about everything, that they're an expert on everything. And you're a moron if you don't agree with them. And it's like, you know, only a Sith deals in absolutes. As Confucius said, real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance. I've found people that are far left are unwilling to examine anything outside of what they believe. And even as Yuri Bezmenov said, you can give them news stories and reports and data, and they'll refuse to believe it because they're so committed to their ideology. Because if they were to accept what data and facts you've given them, then their identity can't handle being shattered like that. So they would rather stay in ignorance. So ignorance is bliss. I mean, again, you just look at the left. And there was a Supreme Court victory today that the Supremes basically said that all these lower level judges that have been trying to tell Trump that he can't deploy the National Guard and he can't deport people and all these things. The Supreme Court basically came out and said, yeah, you guys don't have any fucking jurisdiction. And so they won. It sucks that it had to go all the way to the Supreme Court, but at least the Supremes ruled on it. Of course, the three Sotomayor, the communist Kenji or whatever, and the newest one that replaced Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I think. And then, or no, it wasn't Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It was another. It was Joe Biden put her in. Kenji, and then she wears the shell necklace around her neck all the time. And it's some woke thing that she believes in. And Kagan, they all, they're liberals, and so they don't care what the law says. It's not important to them. They care about ruling on what's right. They're social justice warriors, and so they're always going to side with the Democratic Party. And again, they don't care what the written word of the law is. They don't care about the Constitution. They only care about doing what they feel is right, because to them, the Constitution is like a living document. In other words, they can reinterpret it for the times. and basically make it mean something that it doesn't mean. And that's what these leftist judges were all doing. They believe they're doing the right thing. They don't care what the law says. So they issue these rulings and these injunctions against Trump's executive orders and things he's trying to do because they believe they're doing the right thing. Again, they don't care what the letter of the law says. And so the Supreme said, no, you can't do this. You don't have standing. You can't have some low-level judge in California telling the president what he can and can't do. So that's a problem. And, the more you get, closer to the majority of the country adopting those views, the closer the republic is to going away, and we're going to end up with a communist socialist hellhole. We'll become just like Venezuela. People get murdered left and right because that's what happens. The leftists murder everybody that doesn't agree with them. It's like we were talking about yesterday. It was like during all the lockdowns. The people on the left were like, "Well, you didn't get vaccinated, so you should be quarantined. You should be locked in your home. You should not be allowed to participate in society because you could potentially kill me." And I saw lots of people on the left thinking that people that didn't get vaccinated should be executed because they believe that they were killing people by not being vaccinated. So that's when you got people that think like that, that's why you can never disarm, because those people with that kind of thinking will happy to see you murdered. You and your whole family and everybody thinks like you because they feel like they're righteous.
Yeah, Jack was telling me during COVID, his grandma, she didn't leave the house, like, ever.
I had some of my close friends that are conservative. Like, one of my best friends is like he wouldn't leave his house. I didn't see the guy for a fucking year and a half.
Yeah, she didn't leave for like 3 years, leave her house. I'm like, oh my God.
And the jab fucked him up.